Thank you very much for coming, and thank you very much to everyone who presented today. It really was amazing to connect, and we're looking forward to all the connections tomorrow. So before we begin delving into the book, as co-editors Mindy Carter, Claudia Mitchell, and I would like to extend a really warm welcome to you all for the book launch of Art as an Agent, for joining us to the book launch of Art as an Agent for Social Change. We would like to also acknowledge all the people who helped bring this book together, and there were many of you. Some of you are here, some of you could not join us. We will begin with Patricia Leavy, whom you will hear from in a few minutes. We are thankful for her support and her willingness to include Art as an Agent for Social Change as part of her Brill Sense series, Personal Public Scholarship. We also thank John Bennett and Yolanda Carada at Brill Sense for their support. You have truly made this process a wonderful experience. To all the authors, we thank you for your commitment, engagement as authors and reviewers, and amazing contributions to the field of art as an agent for social change. The book would not be possible without you, so thank you. We are grateful to the artist and educator Maisa Mreiwed for the use of her artwork, Journey of Knowledge, Volume 7, for our book cover. We offer a special acknowledgement to Judith Marcus for generously agreeing to write the foreword for this book. Her own work in art for social change leads the way and is an inspiration to all of us in this field. We thank Avril Rios Torres for her assistance with the preparation of the final manuscript, and we will forever be indebted to Anne Smith, who with her exceptional editing skills ensured a total fairness in relation to maintaining both brevity and to the point sharpness of all the chapters. So thank you, Anne. We also want to thank Nadine Delange, Ashwani Kumar, and Sarah Hashim for being the first to read the manuscript and for writing the advance praise. We would like to thank our funders, the Artful Inquiry Research Group and the distinguished James Miguel Professor Fund. For this book launch, we also want to thank Cheryl Smith-Gilman and Darshan Daryanani for their support. Last but not least, I want to thank Mindy Carter and Claudia Mitchell. No words can describe how honored I am to be in your company and to continuously learn from you. You are truly inspirational. I will now pass the mic to Claudia Mitchell, who will give us a glimpse into the world of art as an agent for social change. Claudia, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, here I'm on, and I'm with the brilliant editor herself, Anne Smith, live from Prince Edward Island. Thank you so much, Helen, for those lovely words. And I have to say, working with you and Mindy on this book project, starting with the conference, the day after the conference 2 years ago, like, maybe we should do a book. So I think this day has really one that we're very happy to see here finally. We're just moving out of the sun. Turns out we're like in the sun. So my task this evening is very short. It's a type of drum roll. I think we need a drum roll. We also have a couple of glasses of sparkling, well, it is champagne from Prince Edward Island, to introduce the book to the world and the world to the book. And to try to give a sense to you, a taste of the work of our amazing contributors. What we're about to do is show a short video, which was inspired by one of the South African contributors, Dr. Kathleen Pithouse Morgan, who at a launch 2 years ago of her book on objects, used a similar format in terms of bringing together all the pieces of the book into one short piece. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to have the treat of seeing a 5-minute and 16-second short visual and musical overview of the book dedicated to the contributors. We thank Cheryl Gilman-Smith for all of her work in helping to bring this together. And we are very grateful to Darshan Daryanani for his creativity and imagination in putting this all together. So sit back. Oh, we're still darker. Sit back and enjoy the 5 minutes and 16 seconds, and I'll come back after that. Thank you. That's beautiful, Darshan. Thank you. And thank you to all the contributors. I think this is just such a special moment. And again, with, with an editor, thank you. And now I turn this over to Mindy Carter, who is going to introduce us to the keynote speaker for this evening, Patricia Leavy. So over to you, Mindy, and thanks again.
Thank you so much, Claudia and Hala, and to all of the authors from the book that are able to join us this evening. It is my great, great pleasure to introduce Dr. Patricia Leavy, who was the keynote speaker at our symposium 2 years ago, as Hala mentioned earlier. She's able to join us again this evening on this wonderful occasion of the book launch, and I'd just like to turn it over to her to say a few words. Thank you so much.
So hello, everyone. It is so wonderful to see people I don't live with. So let me just start with that. So thank you for inviting me to this wonderful occasion. And really, I just wanted to say a few words about why I started the personal/public scholarship book series, which your book is a part of. I want to talk a little bit about a few of the titles in the series and tell you why I'm so glad that your book is our newest title. So this is the mission statement for the Personal Public Scholarship book series that I created with Brill Sense. The Personal Public Scholarship book series values: 1, public scholarship, scholarship that is accessible to academic and popular audiences. And 2, interconnections between the personal and public in all areas of cultural, social, economic, and political life. So obviously it's a very broad series in scope, and yet I found that there was nothing else like it, which is why I came up with this idea. And I think in these times, perhaps more than ever, I'm so glad I had created this series, because I think people are seeing in lots of different ways how the personal and public are always connected, and these are always winding roads in our lives. So I'm very proud of the books in this series, and because it's so broad, we publish on so many different topics, and I've been incredibly selective with the books I have chosen for this series. This is one of 10 book series I've created, and I can say it is one of the series I'm most selective about, because the topics can range so greatly that I want to make sure to get the most important topics with the best possible authors and editors to capture that topic in a given moment. So some of the titles that you are joining in the company of, this series has been really received beautifully by audiences, but also won awards, created best-selling books, and I'm incredibly proud of it. So a few of the titles you're in company with are Ivory Tolson's book, No BS, which I think is one of the most important books written about race in the last several years. And his book, No BS, unpacks stereotypes and misinformation about Black people and shows how the prejudice and discrimination that we continue to see and the social injustice we continue to see, and especially in the United States, but around the world, how and why that continues and how misinformation is a part of that. And last year, No BS was Brill's top-selling book of the entire year, not just the Brill Sense imprint, but all of Brill. So I'm enormously proud of that. Another book in the series on a completely different topic I'm enormously proud of is Laurel Richardson's book, 7 Minutes from Home. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with Laurel Richardson. She is a sociologist and feminist icon and a beautiful, beautiful writer. And she wrote this incredibly beautifully written autoethnographic book about what it means to be an American daughter. 7 Minutes from Home. Another book in this series is my own edited volume, to which I give the contributors all the credit, because it's really always the contributors who provide those incredible chapters and share their time and expertise. But my own volume is called Privilege Through the Looking Glass. And I'm very proud that in 2018, that book won the USA Best Book Award for nonfiction anthologies. And these are just a few of the titles in the series that you are joining. And our 8th volume is your book, Art as an Agent for Social Change. And I want to give a huge, huge congratulations to Hala, Claudia, and Mindy. And I do have sparkling water, so I will cheers to you with my sparkling water. I want to give you a huge congratulations and to the contributors and to thank you all for all of your work on this book. I'm especially connected to this title in the series because, as you all know, my work is in the arts and is in arts-based research. And that's how this all came to be, as you mentioned, at the conference a couple of years ago, which I was really delighted and honored to be your keynote speaker. After that, you started talking to me about the possibility of doing this book, which I think the second Mindy emailed me, I just said like yes with an exclamation point or something to that effect. I don't think it was a long road. I think it was just a no-brainer. And I actually can't think of a better moment in which to release this book. And while I'm sorry that it's happening during the pandemic, and so we can't all celebrate in a room together, with everything that is happening politically and socially in the world right now, and the collective political nightmare that those of us in the United States are feeling very, very deeply right now, I can't think of anything more important than talking about the role of art in creating change. And this is something I get asked about all the time. I was speaking at a different conference virtually a few days ago, a creative arts therapy conference about story and stories in our life. And I was asked the question, you know, do we need story for social change, or how is story important to social change? I don't think there is social change without story and without art. I think you absolutely need art for social change. And I think it's one of the reasons that the arts and artists have been suffering in the past few years in many ways, with fundings for the arts being slashed, with artists being censored, with education in the United States, arts education being constantly threatened, constantly under threat. And I think the reason that the arts are always under threat is because they are so powerful and can jar people into thinking in new ways and can help dismantle stereotypes and dominant ideologies and can in fact create social change. So I'm incredibly proud of this 8th volume in the series. I do want to encourage people who are watching it, and those of you who are a part of the book, I want to encourage you to reach out to your network, reach out to people you think might be interested, and ask them to go to Brill.com and to pick up a copy of the book to support this book. Unfortunately, it's coming at a time where we don't have physical conferences, and so we don't have the ability to share the book with people in those ways. But I do hope that people go out, pick up a copy of the book from Brill.com, support the authors and contributors. And I just want to say congratulations. It's an amazing, amazing book. And thank you for inviting me to be a part of your book launch.
Thank you so much, Patricia. It's always a pleasure to hear you speak. And we're just so thrilled that you could come and be live with us today. It means a lot to us.
Thank you.
And I'll just once more turn it back to Hala to wrap up this portion of our symposium for the first day. Hala?
Yeah, and thank you again, Patricia. You know, I know that you took the time to come as well and join us, so we appreciate it. I echo what Mindy said. And thank you for your keynote 2 years ago as well. It was really memorable. I will also pass it on before we conclude and open it up to questions if anyone has any. I just want, we want to pass it on to Judith Marcus, who wrote the foreword, and her work in art for social change is really important. So we just would like to hear from her as well. And I will conclude afterwards. Thank you. And the floor is yours, Judith.
Thank you, Hala. I don't want to take up much time, simply to say it was an enormous pleasure to work on writing the foreword, the introduction to the book. The diversity and the depth of the work that's represented in all the essays is quite wonderful. And I just wanted to let you know that we are in the midst of creating a national network of people who are doing this kind of work across the country and globally. So if you're interested in becoming part of an incipient network, do go to icasc.ca, the International Center of Art for Social Change, and make contact with us, and we'll keep you apprised of developments. Also of a national mentorship program we're running, which will see 50 artists working through 6-month projects with mentors and environmental organizations across Canada. So there is so much wonderful activity happening all across the world in the field of art for social change. It's wonderful to have this high level of academic commentary And that commentary, that analysis, the data that's being produced now internationally is quite extraordinary, and is really feeding the capacity building of young artists who are just entering the field or wanting to do it, and for young scholars. So congratulations to everyone who contributed to the book, and look forward to reading all of your next productions. Thank you.
Thank you, Judith. And I will open it up to anyone who has any of the authors or participants who would like to make a comment, ask any questions to Patricia or to Judith or to anyone who is here. So I'll leave the last words to all the contributors of the book. Does anyone have, you can unmute yourself if you have any comment, any question, anything you want to say. Going once, going twice. Okay, well, does anyone, wonderful. So if no one has anything to say, I will, Patricia, would you like to say anything else?
Make art. So I will say that, make art. I mean, we need it. So if you're a person who makes art, or you write, or you do activist work, whatever it is that you do, which has brought you to this moment of being in this virtual space together, do it now. We need it now. So I look at your book as a snapshot of what's been done and what's being done, and I look forward to what the next snapshot might be. What if you were doing a second edition of this book in 5 years, in 8 years? What would that be? So we all need to be doing research and making art now. And I can tell you it's what's getting me through this pandemic. I mean, you are looking at someone who has been in our house for almost 8 months. The only people I see are my husband and my dog. I've always talked to my dog, now actually think she understands me. Okay, so that's where my life is right now. Thank you for laughing at that. Sadly, it's actually my life, but yes. And what has gotten me through this? I mean, look, I'm suffering in all the ways that I imagine many of you are, anxiety and concern and just not having sort of what we consider a normal life. Missing people in my life, missing travel, all the things I imagine that many of you feel. What has absolutely gotten me out of bed every single day is making art. I mean, I can tell you this, that I've written 2 novels that would not exist if not for this pandemic, and I'm a third of the way through novel number 3. And so that is, for me, the good personal thing to come out of this. And they are very influenced by the experience of what I'm experiencing right now. And also not just me personally, but what we as a global community are experiencing right now. So make art, write, do your activist work. There, you know, while this is a time of isolation in some ways, I also feel it's a time of deep connection in other ways. And I feel that there are ways to do that. Maybe you'll make art or do your activist work in a different way than you would have had not been for this pandemic. And so while we're living in this moment, embrace that and make art and do activist work, because the world needs it. And I think each of us personally needs it.
Thank you. I definitely agree, and that's what has kept my sanity as well through these months. Claudia, Mindy, any final words before we conclude?
There are some questions in the chat.
There you go. Can you read?
Asking whether there's a possibility of a book on arts in the pandemic. And this question is directed to Patricia.
Of course it is. The publishing questions always come my way. So yes, there's a possibility. So if anybody's really interested in developing an idea for the series, you can go to my website, which is just my name, so patricialeavy.com, and there's a tab for book series, and you can click on that and it will tell you how to develop a proposal, where to send it. It goes to my assistant first, then it comes to me, but there's the process. And you know, you're more than welcome to put an email that you have this idea or thought of it while we were having this Zoom experience, and that will jar my memory. But yes, one thing I will say though, which whenever there's any sort of crisis happening, I'm inundated with people who want to do books about that crisis. It doesn't matter what the crisis is. It's sort of every major event that happens, all of a sudden I get lots of emails about that. And a book has to live outside of a moment. So think about that. So yes, something could be a snapshot about what's happening now, but we will not be in this moment forever. So how will that book live for readers 3 years out of the pandemic, or what we hope will be 3 years out of the pandemic? So just consider that as you're conceptualizing the book, that you're capturing a moment, but it has to be about more than just that moment.
That's smart.
Thank you. Darshan, are there any other questions?
No, everyone's just very enthusiastic and happy to be here, it seems.
Perfect. And we're happy that everyone, well, nearly everyone was able to make it. So thank you very much. Claudia?
Oh, I just want to say thank you again to you and Mindy for being such great people to work with. That's very, very, you're just inspiring people, and you both work so hard. So I really, really enjoyed it. And I thank everyone for coming this evening. It was really a special moment when we finally realized that the book would come out at least 12 hours before the book launch. So we're all set. And also to say that we will make the video, the final version of the video, available to all the contributors as well. So thank you very much. And thank you, Patricia.
Thank you very much. And thank you to all the authors as well. You made the process really easy, and you were flexible, and we all appreciate it. So thank you. And the book is beautiful and wonderful, and everyone at Brill did an amazing job.
They all love you, everyone at Brill. So
honestly, yes, it was the best process.
When you're working with authors and editors, you get a big range. And so people who are kind and professional, it goes a long way, which actually goes to the question earlier, if you want to pitch a book. It's just something people in the world forget sometimes, that kindness actually goes a long way, that there's always a human being at the other side of that computer that has a whole life and a whole set of worries and issues going on. And so I always find that those small things are so important. And sometimes people ask me, you know, I get proposals every single day for my 10-book series. And, you know, we accept about 1% of the proposals. And I always get asked, well, how do you decide what you're going to accept? And yes, you're interested in the topic and you think that that person is capable of doing it. But then there's the, like, do I want to deal with this person? Do I want to work with this person? I mean, every assistant, every email my assistant gets, they forward it to me with their little notes about how the person has treated them via email. That's the first thing I see. Because I've learned over doing this for more than a decade how much that matters. You know, because there are many worthwhile projects in the world that unfortunately we can't fund them all. And that's a shame, and I wish we could, but we can't. So sometimes you also, you bank on people that you want to work with. So I do just want to tell Mindy and Hala and Claudia that everyone at Brill found you a joy to work with, as I knew I would, so that was a no-brainer, but everyone there did too. So thank you for being so professional and having the book in such beautiful shape. And to the cover artist, the art is just beautiful. It looks great. I cannot wait to hold it in my hands.
Thank you. Me too. And we will be sending out copies to the first authors. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. I will end the chat here, and hopefully I will see you all tomorrow again. So please do join us at 9 a.m. Thank you again, Patricia, and we hope to see you again for everything. So we really appreciate it, and we appreciate your time. So take care. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Have a wonderful day and stay safe.
Congratulations.
Thank you.